The war needs for wood are urgent. Few realize how urgent. Without wood, for example, truck bodies would have to be made of metal, which is needed for guns and tanks and shells and motors. 1 million feet of lumber a day now goes into bodies for army trucks. Without wood, our armed forces and many civilian workers could not be housed. Without wood, hundreds of ships essential to victory could not be built. And during the coming year, millions of feet of lumber will be required for ships. Without wood, thousands of training planes and air transports could not be made. Without wood, the enormous quantity of boxes and crates needed for shipping food, equipment, munitions, and supplies to our armed forces and to our allies could not be had. The quantity needed of these wood and wood fiber containers and the variety of their uses stagger the imagination. In 1942, we used 8 billion feet for crates, boxes, and dunnage. This year, as the tempo of war steps up and our forces spread to distant lands, there is a substantial increase in the need. In 1942, we used 6 billion board feet more lumber than we produced. To keep the lumber supply from falling short of wartime needs is a serious problem. Yet, 1 extra log for every 5 will solve it. Other needs for wood are everywhere present, for wood is a universal material out of which man can fashion a multitude of products vital to victory. This year, moreover, we face possible shortages of wood products such as piling, veneer logs, and pulpwood. We may run 2 million cords short of our 1942 production of pulpwood, thus affecting the output of cellulose needed for paper, munitions, and other war uses. Yet standing in the woodlots of our farms is much of the timber needed to prevent these shortages, timber ready for harvesting. The farmers of America are doing much. They've increased production of field and pasture to help feed the world, and they are determined their woodlots also will hasten victory. Today, cooperating with the farmer, federal, state, and extension foresters will help him work out his cutting plan. They invite the farmer to discuss market needs and sales possibilities. They will give him pointers on how to cut what is needed now, and at the same time, keep his woods in good condition to grow future crops. They will encourage him to find out which species will best serve special war uses and where they can be sold to advantage. To select and sell trees which are not contributing to the productivity of the land. To get better prices by listing what he has to sell by kind and grade. To bear in mind his own and his neighbor's needs for wood on the farm. And to mark trees which are to be cut. If the farmer decides to sell his timber on the stump, they will help him to draw up a written contract, including terms that state which trees are to be cut and how. A good contract protects the farmer from loss and waste, which results from harvesting only the best trees, and it avoids lump sum sales, which generally result in clear cutting, a method which seldom yields full value and may mean loss of further income for a lifetime. In cutting, the wise farmer will insist on low stumps. He will cut his trees into the most valuable lengths, using tops, large limbs, and inferior trees for firewood, which is in great demand where there is a shortage of other fuels. Trees removed in thinning and portions of trees not suitable for saw logs can often be sold for use as mine props, posts, small poles, ties, and pulpwood. There is always a demand, now emphasized by war needs, for select species and special products such as veneer. For example, such species as yellow poplar, red gum, basswood, hard maple, and birch will bring twice as much for veneer as for common lumber, and often will serve war needs better if used as veneer. Wood from large, sturdy oaks can be sold to advantage for use as ship timbers. Thus, farmers often receive more total cash and more frequent returns when they cut selectively and sell mature trees for special products than when they sell everything in a lump sum lot. the flourishing young trees that were left in selective cutting will put on more growth than would have been put on by all the trees that were in the stand before the thinning. In meeting the war needs, the wise farmer will do as much of the work himself as he can. By doing this, he gets the added income and he helps solve the wartime labor shortage problem. Faced with labor shortages, farmers are not only doing their own logging, but are working more and more with their neighbors. They profit from helping each other as well as from their timber, and at the same time they bolster the efforts on the home front. Farmers lending each other equipment or working together set a fine example in patriotism. A tractor, a two-wheel log sulky, or a skidder sled may save you or your neighbor from taking your trucks with their precious tires back onto roads where the going is tough and the wear terrific. In some communities, farmers have formed forest products cooperatives which work closely with the public foresters. They help in marketing the timber and in some cases form a pool from which members may draw equipment and labor. Knowing when the nearby mill needs logs and delivering them there instead of to some distant mill avoids cross-hauling and saves time, tires, and gasoline. Public foresters often can help in providing this information. Trees should be paid for on the basis of measurement, on the stump when sold standing, or by scaling the logs in the woods or at the mill. The price that a farmer can get for his logs depends on the quality and amount of lumber that can be sawn from them. Quality and quantity also determine the price that the mill can get for its product. A good mill can pay well for prime logs, but no mill can cut enough lumber out of poor logs to pay top prices for them. That's why it pays to put woodlots in condition to produce high-grade logs. With the help of the public foresters or of his own marketing co-op, the farmer gets the best going price for his product and the maximum growth from his woodlot. He can build for the future and at the same time help meet urgent war needs. Those needs are challenging our production facilities and draining our stockpiles. Many mills are idle for days at a time because they lack the logs to produce the wood that a fighting America needs. As America goes to war, the farmer fights not in the ranks of a militant army, but in the fields and woodlands of his native land. America needs his help in getting out the wood, vital in a host of ways to victory. It needs his help to build the ships, the planes, the crates and boxes, the structures and materials, the things it needs to build the bridge to a free world. Our men at the front need wood to put it across.